Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the GameCast NewsCast. I'm Snowy, otherwise known as Count Fracula. Joining me this week is Joe Chip.
Hello.
And we have a guest who's been on... I've talked to him several times, but not on this channel. It's Over the Edge. Well, Grant from Over the Edge, or formerly from Over the Edge. I don't know how you want to do that.
You can work with formerly, that's fine. Hello.
Yeah. Yes, he's from a channel that isn't making videos anymore.
Yeah. You just call me Symbol.
Yeah. Anyway, Prince jokes aside. Yes, this has been a week. I was going to do a newscast last week with Joe and Sully, but we were trying to record 3 videos in the morning, and that didn't happen. So, oh well. But we're back this week, and we'll start with the traditional section of Joe. What have you been playing this week?
Well, I've been playing a bit of Wreckfest.
Good.
On your recommendation.
I see people are finally getting hold of it.
Yeah. It's coming to the Xbox and I think PlayStation later in the year as well. So, yeah.
It's good.
My boy's excited about that because he wants to play it on the Xbox. And he loves it as well, incidentally.
Good. He's a man
very
of
good
taste.
Game. Bit of Crackdown, believe it or not.
What do you think
mindless
of Crackdown?
nonsense.
Okay.
It's the thing that attracts me about it.
I've heard incredibly mixed things about it.
It's not. Let's be honest. It's not a good game, but it's not. For me, it's not as bad as some people. Exactly. But it's not as bad as some people make out, because for me, the attraction of it is literally that it is almost stripped down from what we get now with open world games. It is old school. It does feel like an old game, and it does feel quite comfortable for that reason for me. So it's like I can only play it for a half an hour at a time.
Yeah.
But that half an hour is a blast. So it does what it's supposed to for me. So I'm happy. But would I pay full price for it? No, I wouldn't. I'd have waited for a sale maybe. But I've got it on Game Pass, so I'm happy.
Cool.
Anything else?
Oh, actually, yeah. What did I play last night? I played a bit of Halo last night. So, yeah, I've been playing a bit of that as well, because obviously with the announcement that the Master Chief Collection is going to be coming to PC and also is going to get bolstered with Reach.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd dip in and have another go at it. So I've been playing through Halo. So, yeah, that's me done.
Excellent.
I've been playing.
Cool. So, Grant, what have you been playing this week?
So, I haven't played a lot, but just a mix of things. I've been playing a fair bit of Hitman because it was a PS Plus giveaway. And I finally got into Hitman. Yeah, because I wasn't really a fan before because it was a little too sandboxy for me, but I'm really liking it because I just muck around with the game and try and do as many outrageous things to NPCs as possible, see if I can get away with it. You know, and that for me is just like a lot of fun. So I'll disguise myself as this and walk up to a random person having lunch and start teabagging them just to see what they do. So it's just usually they stand up and go, "Well, it takes all sorts, doesn't it?" Just start making comments like that, and
that's a bizarrely okay reaction.
It's just weird the way they scripted every possible reaction to your sort of weird behaviour as Agent 47.
Yeah.
And so I've been playing Hitman. I've been playing a bit of Battlefield 5. Yeah, it's better than it used to be, but it's got a lot of issues. I watched the Firestorm trailer, which was their battle royale. They released the trailer for it yesterday. Looks kind of interesting. What I think was quite funny is they took the piss out of the original Battlefield 5 reveal trailer in the Firestorm, where in the original you saw the woman with the hand, I think robot hand or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah.
You just see the back of her head in the trailers almost to say, right, we're not going to focus on her, because we don't want a million dislikes for the video again. And the thing about Battlefield 5 is I have a love-hate relationship with it. The gunplay is very good in the game, but it has so many issues. The map design is just awful. It just promotes camping, and I'm playing it at the moment, but to be honest, I'm probably going to move over to Division 2 or something for multiplayer. because I don't really like some aspects of the game. I don't like a game that sort of makes it too easy for people to just sit in one spot the whole game and just mow people down. I don't think that's good.
Yeah.
Good game design. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing. I think just mainly those two. A little bit of Nier Automata as well, because I got the Game of the Year edition of that, and that's an excellent game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that came out I think a week ago on PS4 and PC. I think it's on Xbox as well. I'm not sure though. Yeah, and that's me.
There we go. What have I been playing this week then? I have been playing. Mostly, I've been playing Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets on Game Boy Color.
Wow.
Wow.
I'll bet neither of you were expecting that.
Nope.
That's a bit of a blast from the past.
It is. I found a box copy on eBay, and I have a lot of nostalgia for that game, so I bought it. It holds up. It's one of the few old games that holds up.
Yeah.
The Game Boy Color ones are somewhat unique because they did the same style of game for the first and second books. They follow the book plot rather than the movie plot, so there's a lot of subtle differences in it. But they're laid out, they are played like sort of JRPG style things. So you have an overworld. You walk around you walk around Hogwarts and other various places, and then you have random encounters in certain places. Random encounters can spawn, and you're doing turn-based battles against whatever. Usually anywhere between rats and knights, enchanted knights and whatever. There's loads of weird, cool enemies. And then you have a repertoire of spells that take up MP to use. And you start off with an incredibly small MP pool as well, which is really depressing. But yeah, you can level up the spells as you go, get new versions of that, and all the enemies have different things that they're weak or resistant to. It's a surprisingly in-depth system, especially for a Game Boy Color game. And for a Game Boy Color game as well, it looks really good. Especially the animations are all really sort of nice and smooth.
Yeah, I like it when games sort of push the hardware like that.
Yeah, it probably is. It's, when you look at it compared to, say, Red Dead Redemption 2, it looks quaint, to say the least. But for what it was running on, I think it looks quite good.
I've never actually played a Harry Potter game, so yeah.
No.
I have played quite a few of them. I've played the 2 Game Boy Color games. I think I've played one of the Game Boy Advance games, but I remember not enjoying it as much. But I've also played Lego Creator, Harry Potter, and the Philosopher's Stone. That's a game that does not hold up, unfortunately. I played it a month or 2 ago. It doesn't hold up. I've managed to get hold of Lego Creator, Harry Potter, and the Chamber of Secrets. However, I can't get it to run. I have 2 virtual machines, one Windows XP and one Windows 2000, and it won't run properly on either of them.
Oh, that's annoying.
The closest I've got to do is get it to run the opening cinematic, and then it just closes.
I hate this with old games.
Old PC games in particular. Old games in general, you can generally just you can find an old console, get an old game, and it'll probably work. But old PC games, they didn't think about preserving these.
Yeah, I
spent ages trying to get Deus Ex to work. Kingpin as well. I managed to get them both running, but I spent more time getting them working than I did actually bloody playing them.
This is the thing, isn't it? I can't get Fallout for is it New Vegas to run at all on my computer, and I've tried all sorts of fixes. I just gave up in the end.
Really?
Yeah, it just won't run. It just freezes up as soon as I hit.
Mind you, said,
I tried running as administrator. The only thing I haven't tried is Windows 8 compatibility or something. But I don't know.
Here's a weird thing though. I have never been able to get GTA 4 to work on my PC, on any computer that I've tried it on. I've never got it to work.
It's weird, isn't
Don't know
it?
why. Yeah.
Yes.
And you'll talk to someone else and they'll say, I've never had a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, thanks. Good for you.
Yeah, exactly.
But I am
That's what
having a
really
problem.
annoys me is like clever arseholes come in and they say, well, I've not had a problem. There must be something wrong with what you do. Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Obviously,
Yeah, I want to
something's
know
not working.
what.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, another one that I keep trying to get to run is Lego Chess. I've been trying on and off to get that running for literally years at this point because I used to play it a lot. That's how I learned to play chess. And
Oh, that's a good way to
I
learn.
just can't get it to run at all. It's really annoying. I bought recently a disc, like an official disc of it, because the one I had before was a pirated disc. I bought an official disc, and it comes in a set of 3, so it's 3 jewel cases. But the side of the jewel case, where you normally have just the normal bit that doesn't open, is actually Lego sort of bits, and the 3 jewel cases snap together
Yeah.
and stick together because it's Lego. It's really cool.
That sounds cool, actually.
I think it's cool. But yeah, so it came with that, and I was like, great, I've got an official disc version. Maybe I can get it running. No.
That's disappointing.
I still can't get it right. I just want to play Lego chess.
Please.
Please just let me play Lego chess at some point.
I haven't played for years. I want to play Archon on the Commodore 64. That's what I want to
God,
play.
yeah. That's great, Archon. I remember that.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
It's kind of chess-ish. Kind of.
Right,
It's a long time since I played it.
I'm a bit...
A mate of mine was obsessed with it. Sorry, go on.
Right, I think I'm probably a bit... Well, I'm certainly too young for Commodore.
Yeah, we're old buggers round here, you know.
Yes, I am the youngest here.
You certainly are.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking
Grant's
at
the
board
oldest.
game
No,
Archon.
sorry.
It looks interesting.
Fuck off. Oh, I made a swear, sorry.
It's
Sorry,
fine.
we're kind of derailing your show, Count. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, it's Joe's fault.
I'm going to be honest. I've been half tempted to rename it to GameCast Tangent Hour half the time. So
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
yeah, this is nothing new. Anyway, right. So that's what we've been playing this week, and let us move on then to the first story of the show. Have you wasted your money on a Steam link? So have I. I never use it, literally.
It's a good ad for it, isn't it?
It's just sitting under my TV, and I'm like, that's 20 quid I'll never see again.
I can beat you. I've actually got it in a box, never opened.
Oh.
Weren't they selling it dirt cheap? Was it in America where it was selling for something ridiculous price?
Oh yeah, they were selling it. They've done it a couple of times. So if you buy a particular game, you can add a Steam link onto your order for a penny.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I think that's how I picked it up, ridiculously. I don't think it was quite a penny when I got it, but it was definitely ridiculously cheap. So I thought, what the hell?
Yeah, I like.
So it's one of
I like the idea of
It
it.
could have been great.
Yeah, it's a good idea, but it's not. It's just not something I would personally have used. But I can see how it's useful for a lot of people, and especially now they've expanded it. You know, to just go beyond the home. You know, the usefulness.
They
of
have
it
expanded it.
Yeah.
So, let's get into the actual story there. So the Steam Link itself it's fine. It's a thing that exists, but they have now they're basically expanding the service. So the Steam Link app that was launched on Android last year, you could use it to play Steam games on your Android phone, but only if you were at home on the same network as the computer / Steam Link, whatever.
Yeah.
But now they have altered it so that you can play PC games anywhere as long as you have an internet connection, and by extension for that, a good internet connection.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so not dodgy public Wi-Fi then.
No. Dodgy public Wi-Fi trying to play like a high-spec game. You're just like,
yeah, exactly. This sucks.
Like the Wi-Fi in one of the places I work is so appalling. I have to keep turning it off just because it annoys me so much. It's so bad.
Yeah,
public Wi-Fi is not great.
No.
But this is a service that might well benefit from the upcoming 5G thing whenever that happens. You know, sort of next couple of years, 5G rollout will start, hopefully. So it'd probably benefit from that.
Well, they're trying to sell 5G as like the gaming network, aren't they? I've seen a few people now talking about how you're going to get, you know, lagless gaming or latency-free gaming or whatever. I don't believe that for a moment, but if it's significantly better, then it might become viable, at least for certain types of games. I don't think you're going to be playing your Twitch shooters when you're out on the bus, to be honest.
No, I can't.
I remember the first time I got 4G and I was like, oh, wow, this is so much better.
Yeah. They always say it's like, oh, 4G is going to be amazing. I mean, it was a big improvement, but I still can't. It's like Joe said,
do much, yeah.
Yeah, I can't see 5G being completely lagless. I mean, they always overpromise with a lot of this stuff. I mean, there's going to be interruptions in service because of the nature of how these networks work. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, can you imagine at the moment, you're driving along in a car, you're a passenger, you're making a phone call, and you're in the middle of a chat, and then all of a sudden it cuts out. And you know, it's going to work the same for games. And depending on where you are in the world, where you are in the country, the coverage is going to be patchy. It's bound to be, especially when they first roll it out.
Yeah.
So I think it's exciting in the sense that I do think we talked about this last week, that this is kind of where we're heading for the future. This is you know, it is exciting, but let's not get carried away. It's not going to be lagless. It's not going to be like sitting in front of your console at home and playing. It's simply not.
No,
and it might work for certain types of games, but
not unless you have a gigabit connection at either end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how many people have that?
Fucking nobody.
Maybe apart from rich people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ironically, the people working for the companies that are trying to push this stuff, they'll be fine.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, this is, like you say though, this is probably going to be the competition. It's like going to be the thing that people are focusing on probably in the next few years, is going to be getting their streaming services viable and getting people to want to use them. Because Google are working on their own, that they're rumoured to be revealing later this year.
Yeah.
We already know that Microsoft basically want to do it. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, did you see the demo that Microsoft did, where they had the guy who was in charge of their streaming platform talking to, I forget her name, but she's one of the regular presenters on one of these programs, and she was supposed to be playing this. They handed her a phone and she was playing Forza.
Oh, was it Julia Hardy?
All the people,
yeah,
I think it was. Yeah. And all the people commenting were saying it didn't look like she was actually playing. It was odd.
Yeah, she said she was on Twitter because she had to sort of correct a lot of people who were saying that basically.
Yeah, but it did look, even then it did look pretty laggy. And okay, look, you know, it's early days yet, and I've no doubt that it will work better than that. But it didn't look. I wasn't that convinced, to be honest. And I always go back to the claims that have been made for, you know, cloud gaming in the past, and then you hear the stuff that was talked about for Kinect, and you know, and it's not just Microsoft. Sony have come out with all sorts of crap in the past, and so have Nintendo. But you know, I remember them talking about, you know, when you play squad-based shooters using the Kinect, you'll be able to use hand gestures to stop your troops and whatnot. It was complete bollocks. Never ever transpired.
I'm always remember what was that game called? I cannot remember what that game was called, where they actually implemented like hand gesture controls. It was like a tank game. And it was so broken that nobody played it because it was just so broken.
And this is the thing, isn't it? It's all very well bringing it in, but it's got to work at a certain level for it to be worth having. And as I say, I think down the road it will probably work. But I'll be interested, to see how Steam Link works. If I say, for instance, I take my kid drumming, and I'm sat in the drum studio there, and I don't know if they've got a wireless internet. They probably have, but I don't log into it. And so I sit there, and anything I do via the phone network.
Yeah,
I'd be interested to see just how well it's going to work when I sit there, just to drop into a game and see if I can play maybe a game that's on, at this stage on my computer, see if it will work. Because I remember trying to set up streaming within the house from the PlayStation 4 to the Vita.
Yeah.
And I was finding problems with that. And I know some people had a good time with that, but I found it quite awkward. And I was going to do a video talking about it, and I gave up in the end.
I tried.
It was so clunky.
Yeah, I tried with the PS4 to I think when I had my MacBook Pro, and it just didn't work. It was just like you wouldn't even log in, I don't think, in the end. It was just
no,
I just can't get this to work. I just gave up in the end.
So it's got to be a lot more robust than that.
Yeah.
And it remains to be seen whether that's going to be the case. But I would hope that Steam make sure that it's robust enough that it will at least give people a reasonable experience.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you've got. What about these PC ones?
You can actually try it now, though.
Yeah. I mean, we've got Shadow. We've got things like that. They work. They're supposed to work fairly well.
Yeah, I mean, according to Jay on Joe's Discord, the GeForce Now game streaming service works quite well. But then he has a decent connection at work, so...
Yeah. I've heard that, and I've not really played with it myself, and I've actually got the NVIDIA Shield, but I don't use it all that much. But I've not tried it. I've been talking to Jason about this a few times, and he rates it. And I actually have heard a lot of people say that it's actually a pretty good service.
Yeah.
NVIDIA seem to have sorted it out pretty well, so it does work quite well.
I have heard
but again, that's not out and about.
I've got a mate
that's
who will continuously sing its praises, the Shield. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
the Shield's a great bit of kit. It really is. I think it does so much, and because it's Android based, you can do so much with it that you couldn't do with the PlayStation, the Xbox, whatever. I mean, it was one of the first sort of mainstream boxes that had Kodi.
Okay.
It's fantastic for emulation, so it's a pretty decent box. And the funny thing is, it's actually pretty much the same tech as the Switch inside it. It's the same chip.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So it's on a par with the Switch in terms of its power. But also then you add in the streaming as well. It's quite a good little box. I rate it, actually. I do. I think it's pretty decent. But anyway, we're getting off subject again.
Yeah, it's fine. To be fair, there's not really much else to talk about with this. But what I didn't know is that Steam Link had been discontinued. I've just found that out.
I heard whispers about that. Yeah.
I'm not surprised because it
wasn't really
sell
doing
very
much,
well.
was it?
No. It's the same
like
as
the
the Steam controller. Do you remember that? I've got it and I really don't use it.
It reminds me, I used to buy all sorts of controllers for the PC. Or, any new controller came out, I would buy it. I had a box full of them at one point. And none of them ever worked properly, not really. It was only...
They were awful.
It's only in recent... Yeah, exactly. They were all terrible. And it was only really when we started getting the ability to use the PlayStation controller and the Xbox controller on PC that really things like sports games worked properly and driving games, unless you're using a steering wheel, obviously. But it was only then that those kind of games worked on PC. So back in the day, you probably remember this, Grant.
Yeah.
Back in the day, really, the two platforms were really there was a real demarcation line. If you wanted to play things like sports games and those kind of things, you wouldn't play them on PC. It just wasn't really doable.
No, they were bad. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and shooters. Equally, shooters on consoles were dire. And I know people go on about GoldenEye, but if you compare GoldenEye to what came later, and the first one talked about this before.
You look at GoldenEye, it's one of those games. You can praise it for what it did for the industry and for gaming as a whole. It doesn't hold up though.
It doesn't hold up at all. It's awful. It's like it hurts your eyes. Trying to play it.
Yeah, people look at this and go, "Oh, look at this! It still holds up." Honest, no, it fucking doesn't. Like, I can appreciate what it did for the industry. I can appreciate that it's a landmark title. That doesn't mean it holds up.
No, I mean it did good things for the control system, but if you try and use that control system now, it's like, oh my god, what's going
fucking
on?
Awful.
It's horrible. And it was only when Halo came along that actually the control system, we've said this before, it was only when Halo came along that the control system worked on console. And that's when first-person shooters took off on that platform. Prior to that, they were all, control-wise, they were all shit.
Definitely. There was a huge surge, wasn't there? In the 360 there was a huge surge of console shooters. Basically because of
Absolutely.
Halo. Yeah.
Exactly, because that control mechanism just works. And people still use it now.
Oh, yeah.
So,
So yeah. Right, well, Steam Link then. You can try this beta now. If you're in the beta program, you can try this new feature to stream from anywhere to your phone. If you've tried it, let us know in the comments. See what you thought of it. Certainly,
it'd be interesting.
A thing. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see if this goes well and what they do with it in the future. So yes, that is that story there. Let us move on to the next one. Bad news if you're Alfonso Ribeiro, whatever his name is, because the Fortnite lawsuits are not going well. So we talked about a few weeks ago on the newscast that his particular case had fallen apart basically because he couldn't get copyright on his quote simple dance routine.
Funny that.
Yeah. That's interesting. But his isn't the only case that is slightly falling apart because a lot of the others have basically been told that no, they're not allowed to do this. So on March the 4th, this is slightly late news, but I don't care. The Supreme Court in the US ruled that people must complete their registration with the Copyright Office before they can sue for copyright infringement. This is, of course, probably due to the fact that Alfonso Ribeiro filed his suit beforehand and then got refused copyright, which kind of makes his suit a bit redundant.
You're doing it the wrong way round, I think. So.
Wasted a ton of money for no reason.
What's wrong with this picture?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, all I can see now is, in the Fresh Prince, I can see like Will Smith saying something like, "Carlton, you're an idiot," or something along those lines.
Yeah.
There's enough Fresh Prince memes going about as it is. There's even more now,
I'm going to say,
Oh dear.
Oh dear. But yes, this is one of those things where you look at it and it's just a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it does make you wonder how he ever thought that he was actually going to win it. Did he actually? Because he's had to play lawyers and things, presumably.
Yeah, he's had to pay people, so he obviously thought that he had a case there.
I don't understand how. I mean,
I'm going to say he's probably maybe a little bit short of money. The Dancing with the Stars money isn't going to last forever.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. You're in a country where litigation is like second nature. So it's like, I've run out of money. What shall I do? I know I'll try and sue the biggest game in the world because I need some cash or something.
Because they have loads of money, yeah.
Yeah, and they've got loads of money, so they'll do,
And they're a big target, and they may just go away. They may just pay me some money to go away.
Yeah, he's
That's
banking
maybe
on
what
that,
he was thinking.
Yeah.
But you know, he has to factor in that for them that's a precedent. If they pay him money, everyone's going to want money.
Yeah, everyone will want the money. Everyone will go, "Oh, you paid him. Why don't you pay us?"
Yeah, I'm thinking if they put the John Peel dance in, I'm having that one. Remember John Peel?
I do, yes. John Peel dance.
Niche references.
Yeah.
But yes, so apparently then, plaintiffs previously were able to they were able to file the copyright suit as soon as they applied for the copyright registration. But now they're going to have to wait until they have the copyright on the dance before they can file the suit.
Yeah.
Which, provided they get it, still has a massive backlog because it's the Copyright Office, which could take months. So, basically, all of these suits that had been filed now don't exist, and most of them may not exist again ever.
Yeah.
All I can say to that is good. It's such a waste of time and energy, and
it's a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
It's utterly insane. I don't understand it, to be honest. And I think this idea of filing a lawsuit before you get your copyright. They're right to say that. They're right to say, look, you know, get all your ducks in a row before you start your bloody lawsuit.
Yeah, it's common sense, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. It's wasting everybody's time, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a total waste of time.
Yeah,
I mean, your games just like seem to be a target. If they're not a target for ridiculous sort of finger pointing to do with, you know, because they're an easy target for like censors, or you know, people are going after them for stuff like this, which is just crazy. You know, it's a crazy waste of time.
It's because they're a big target, aren't they? We've had this with books, we've had it with films, TV, we've had it with you know, all sorts of music, all sorts of different areas where if someone's really successful, they put out a massive album, or they put out a really successful film or whatever, someone will try and sue them and claim that they've stolen their idea. And you know, sometimes that's the case. Sometimes that has actually happened, and if they can show that, then fair enough.
Yeah.
But when it's a flippant claim and there's no actual direct link, then I just wish these people would fuck off, to be honest.
It does remind me of the guys who sued Led Zeppelin recently, a few years ago.
Who was that?
What are they called? They're Taurus, I think the band were called.
Right. Oh, was that over Stairway to Heaven?
Rings a bell, yeah.
Yeah, about Stairway to Heaven, that they apparently stole, even though, not going to lie, I know that it's ended up becoming iconic and associated to Led Zeppelin, that riff, but it's a pretty simple riff.
Yeah, there's a guy on YouTube who does music analysis. I can't remember his name, Rick something. He showed that that's quite a common chord sequence, and it's almost impossible to say that they stole it, because it was Jimmy Page learnt from this blues guitarist or something how to play these certain chord sequences, and so he showed that he was just using that. You know, he didn't directly steal it, and it's probably
okay. So the band was called Spirit. The song that they apparently stole the riff from was called Taurus.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was one of those things that the lawsuit was filed by the family of the dead guitarist who apparently wrote the song originally. So, what did that kind of say?
Our royalties have dried up. Quick, do something.
Yeah, wanted a bit of cash.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you remember years ago though?
Yeah, it's not great.
Sorry, go on.
Apparently, in late 2018, US judges order a new Led Zeppelin plagiarism trial because apparently the jurors were misled. Of course. Anyway, carry on.
No, I was going to say, do you remember it happens the other way around as well when you get a big company suing the smaller guy? Because I don't know if you remember, but the Lucasfilm actually sued the people who made Battlestar Galactica, the original Battlestar Galactica, not the remake.
Oh, right.
claiming that they basically plagiarised Star Wars, and that was thrown out because they basically said that Star Wars plagiarised everything else.
Yeah, basically it's the hero's journey, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, Star Wars is great and all.
Yeah.
But George Lucas wanted to make Flash Gordon, and he couldn't get the rights, so he wrote his own story. It uses so many different elements of classic science fiction.
Yeah.
That it wasn't at all original. I mean, in the sense that something like, I don't know, maybe The Wasteland or something, you could say that's not entirely original because it's patchwork, T.S. Eliot. But it's still original because it does something new with those basic ideas, those tropes, if you like.
Yeah, it does.
But then... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say the Star Wars they showed was influenced by Seven Samurai quite a bit, and that's one film, and also a British war film. Was it the Dam Busters? The trench sequence in the Star Wars near the end.
Yeah.
With Luke, they showed that
basically
Lucas basically ripped off like cinematography techniques from like older films, and Seven Samurai had with the two droids in Star Wars. There were similarities to elements of that as well. So Star Wars is hardly guilt free when it comes to borrowing from other movies.
No, but this is what art does. It takes stuff that already exists and it builds upon it and tries to do something new and original with it. But then you can't then turn around and say, well, you've done the same as I did, so I'm going to sue you. Yeah. Who's going to, you keep going back down, you go down the rabbit hole, you keep going backwards and backwards and backwards. Who was the first person who came up with that idea? What, you're going to pay money to D.W. Griffith's estate because he was the first one to use a particular film technique? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Isn't it like Sega when they tried to trademark platforming or copyright, like the idea of every platforming game had to pay them a royalty or something? That's what they wanted.
Yeah,
because
like,
they just
it's a game mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. It's a game mechanic. It becomes ridiculous, like you say, if you go to that degree. Yeah.
Well, we've even got art style. Art styles is a bit more understandable. It's but like Square Enix have trademarked HD 2D, which is the art style of Octopath Traveler.
Right.
Yeah, I remember we talked about this, didn't we? In one of your other shows, or one of the previous ones of this one.
It's slightly more acceptable, but still a little bit like.
Yeah.
It's one of those. But there's a load of this kind of stuff. Yeah. This is lawsuits, especially in America, are not uncommon. But in this case, in the case of all the Fortnite lawsuits, I think it's just people, as you say, grabbing at straws, trying to get some money from a big company. I'm going to spin off very quickly, unplanned, because the Epic Games Store has laid out its roadmap, a term that I hate, for the next 6 months.
Roadmap, yeah.
I fucking hate that term.
Jesus Christ. I hope they're not using our sat-nav. They'll end up in the wrong place.
Nah. So, they are adding a lot of various features to the store and making it more feature complete. So if you don't like it now, you might like it in 6 months. So,
or 2 years, because they never deliver on time.
Yeah.
Well, in the next 1 to 3 months, they are planning to improve the search function on their store, so you'll be able to search games a bit better. You'll be able to have cloud saves, and you will be able to. Well, they're planning on reducing things like patch sizes as well, and improvements to their offline mode. In the medium term, they are going to add user reviews and wish lists, news feeds apparently, and additional payment methods. So if you don't like paying by PayPal for some weird reason, then fine.
Use Bitcoins.
An overlay like the Steam overlay, mod support, and library improvements. That's all the mid-term stuff. And then the long-term stuff, they're planning on adding a shopping cart. Quite why that's a long-term goal, I don't know. It seems pretty simple.
Yeah.
Achievements and a quote-unquote social overhaul.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Can I just
carry on.
Can I just suggest that a lot of this probably should have been there when they launched?
Yeah, exactly.
You'd think, wouldn't you? Like,
what's
the
incentive?
Epic Games Store is a good idea, but it's so feature incomplete at the moment.
Yes, exactly.
I really understand why some people don't want to use it at all. I barely use it. I use it on sufferance more than anything.
There's not really an incentive to use it, is there? If you think about it, I mean, they've got, for instance, they've got an exclusive, like they've got the Division 2, but you can get the Division 2 on Uplay Store, and also you can use Uplay credits to knock 20% off of the cost of the game. So
yeah, I know.
Why would you buy it on the Epic Games Store when there isn't enough incentive? That's what they need to be thinking about, incentives to use their store properly.
They have incentives for developers.
Yeah.
But they don't have enough incentives at the moment for consumers. They have the free game every 2 weeks, which, is an incentive.
That's good, yeah.
But is it enough? They ought to be doing a bit more, really.
I think so.
I hate to say this, I've been a bit of a champion of Fortnite in the sense that I think a lot of people knock it unfairly, and I don't play it a lot, but I just think that in terms of what it delivers well. But the flip side of that is Epic themselves and the way they do things. If you look at Fortnite, Save the World was supposed to have gone free, nearly 2 years ago now or something.
Is it still not free?
Still not free.
What?
And no,
that's ridiculous.
It's utterly ridiculous. And I was talking about something the other day they did as well. That they've got this cross-platform play in Fortnite, and great, I love the idea. But I'm a bit concerned with cross-platform play at the moment because it's liable to be, stillborn if it's not sorted out. Because the Epic cross-platform play options, their way of doing things, they're rolling it out to other developers. They're going to make it available so you can use those for other developers. If you've ever tried to set up and use cross-platform play with Fortnite, you'll realise it's a clunky mess. Yeah. To the point where now you can't actually bloody turn it off. So I've got a lot of people coming onto my channel and saying, oh, how do I turn this off? I don't want to be playing with PC players, or I don't want to be playing with people, if you're playing on the Switch, you don't want to be playing people necessarily. You might want to, and that's fine. But you used to be able to turn it off. Now you can't turn it off anymore. So if you've got it on, now you're stuck with it off. Whereas before, you couldn't turn it bloody on. It's every time they do an update, they mess it up. And if they do, sounds like I've gone off topic, but if they do that with the store, and every time they do a step forward, there's 2 steps back, people are going to soon get sick of it. I've had people saying, I'm deleting Fortnite, I'm sick of this. And it's a game that people love, but some people are giving up on it simply because of the way Epic are handling it. Taking a stand
against the company, yeah.
And I can understand that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You can't have an all or nothing approach, like it's either on or... Oh, God.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
and so if they take that approach to their store, it's and I messaged them about this, and they basically said go in and put a fault report on your Xbox. Well, that's not going to sort it out.
It's nothing to do with Xbox. Really... What the fuck are you on about?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, honestly, their customer support isn't great.
Clearly,
well, it's virtually non-existent. So yeah, if they're going to get this store up and running and they're going to compete with Steam, and I've no doubt they will, but they are going to have to sort some of this stuff out really rapidly, I
mean, I'm surprised that it's like they've got these long-term, these inverted commas long-term goals, basic things like putting a shopping cart. I mean, Christ, that's like a 30-minute coding job. I know because I used to do websites with shopping carts, but it's like they've got so many resources. Epic. It's like
I say, they're not Fortnite revenue's gone way down, but they're not a company that has
they must be cash rich,
limited
though.
resources. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like get your shit together. That's one of the things that you could be able to do day fucking one, surely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's almost like they're doing stuff on the cheap, and they need to go all in. If they're going to do this, do it. Stop arsing about and get on with it.
They do. Anyway. That was off topic. It was just a thing that I found on my Twitter feed. I thought I'd mention it. Anyway, yes, Fortnite lawsuits have been dropped. The Epic Games Store is hopefully going to actually be improved in the next 6 months. And let's move on to the final story of the show. Do you like cocaine? Because this Japanese actor does.
Naughty.
Sorry, what was that? I am now going to gabble at you for the next half hour.
Yeah.
Nothing new there.
So, in an interesting development, a game called Judgement, which is a spin-off of the Yakuza games, has been pulled from sale in Japan because the actor Kohei Hamura, who plays one of the villains in the series, or in the game, has been levied with allegations of using a small quantity of cocaine.
Oh my god.
Maybe he was just method acting.
Yeah, but he's trying to get into the role,
Yeah, trying to be a villain,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Say hello to my little friend.
No, that was a bit. That was a slightly bigger amount of cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, should we be surprised by this? This is Japan, after all, and their drug laws are, well, to put it mildly,
They are
a bit draconian.
incredibly.
Yeah.
Yes, they are incredible. If you think the US is strict with their war on drugs, there's nothing compared to Japan.
Yeah, they're way worse.
Yeah, it is seen basically on a par with like some really horrific crimes in Japan.
Yes.
It's one of those things where they're weirdly like prudish and old-fashioned about it.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, something I only just came across this, how draconian they are. It's
to the point where, this guy has been arrested and, a project that he was a part of, the company are so affected and or ashamed by this that they've pulled it.
So, wait a minute, he's been arrested even though there's no hard evidence that he's actually done this? Or is there? I don't know.
So,
has he admitted to it or something? Or...
Judgement was one of its actors. Was arrested in Tokyo on Tuesday and admitted to using, quote, a small quantity of cocaine earlier in the week.
Oh, and he did a urine test which came out positive as well. Okay, so, yeah. He did do it.
So, he definitely did it.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so if you're going to ban games because of the drug associations, then can you imagine doing that in the West, where because games they're never made with by developers under the influence of drugs? I can't imagine that ever happens.
Oh no, not at all. No.
We'd end up with no games on the market, basically.
Exactly. We'd end up with no movies released, or
exactly.
definitely no music. Black Sabbath just wouldn't exist at all in the world.
In fact, I might as well delete half of my iTunes catalogue as well. What about it?
Yeah, exactly. Get rid of most of that.
Yeah.
It's one of those. It really is. But this is... Sega have form for this, though, because, as I said in my news video the other day, which I was very proud of the thumbnail of, incidentally, Sega previously did this with, I believe, it was Yakuza 4?
Yeah.
Yes, Yakuza 4. They completely recast and redid one of the characters in the game because of allegations that turned out to be false in that instance. The guy hadn't actually taken drugs. But they completely recast him in the game and redid his model, and it was completely different in the Western release.
God.
But that actor, even though those allegations turned out to be false, he's ended up quitting the entertainment industry in Japan because of what those kind of accusations can do to your career over there.
So it's just an accusation is enough in like a country that views drugs in this way. It's enough to actually affect your work to that degree. Yeah. It's interesting that it's not surprising that he's taken that stand either, to be honest.
It's one of those.
It's not. I mean, I don't want to judge another culture. It's not. It's a bit difficult because you're trying to judge another culture.
Culture.
Yeah, it's like saying
different ways of looking at it.
Yeah, it's not about that. It's like
Yeah, it's not wrong. It's just different.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's,
and there's plenty of things where you could point the finger in this country, in America, and various other places, and people's careers would be certainly damaged just by making the accusation.
Ruined. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not.
Certainly not ruined to this extent.
We tend to give people,
but I mean, comparatively so piddly.
Yeah, we tend to give people another chance in the West, don't we? If they turn their life, it's like you gave the example earlier of Robert Downey Jr. if they show like that they're making an effort to turn their life around, it's like it's seen as a good thing, and they're giving.
Yeah, because for a more regional example, you got Ant from Ant and Dec.
Yeah,
who's checked himself into rehab for alcoholism.
Yeah.
And that's interesting though, because there's a massive alcohol problem in Japan.
Is there?
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
You talk to anyone who's been over to Japan who can drink a bit, and they can't keep up with the Japanese. The Japanese can drink.
Yeah.
This is the thing, isn't it? It's a culture that believes in like hard work, but they sort of handle that by sort of partying ridiculous amount as well, don't they? When it comes to alcohol, it's like a pressure valve. It's like a release, isn't it, for them?
Yeah,
definitely.
It's interesting though that they are such a hard drinking culture, and yet another drug, and let's be honest, alcohol's a drug.
Yeah.
It is a cultural thing. And you get it in this country as well. I remember years ago, stood in a bar and very drunk with several people, and my mate decided to stir the pot to have a laugh, and he started telling this guy that I was a drug dealer, which I wasn't, incidentally. And this guy got really up. This guy who was knocking back the alcohol like there was no tomorrow, got really, really upset with me and was going to chin me.
Jesus.
And my mate had to kind of, and my mate had to sort of step in and say, no, I was joking. It was,
How dare you be a drug dealer? Meanwhile, I'm just going to consume this legal drug that we've arbitrarily decided is okay.
And okay, look, I understand that it is the law, and whether you agree with that or not, you don't change the law by So I don't agree with the law, so I'm going to sell munitions.
Exactly.
Doesn't quite work like that.
No, exactly. But people do react a lot more again, to the idea of even cannabis. Maybe not so much in the West now, but to alcohol. And so, I suppose what I'm saying is you don't want to judge too much that Japan has got this attitude towards drugs, because it's slightly different over here. But people do still react strongly, and they still do see there's a difference between alcohol and other drugs.
Oh, they do, but that's partly because they're told this is the dividing line between. I mean, I've heard the argument said, and I sort of agree with it, that if alcohol was discovered today, it would be made illegal. Because
it's the same as the internal combustion engine. Try proposing that to someone today.
Exactly. Yeah. Wait a minute.
Just be like, you can fuck off, mate.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So you're right.
Contained explosions to get us around. What's your fucking problem?
That sounds safe. Yeah. Sign me up.
Yeah.
And while it's doing that, we're going to poison the atmosphere as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Precisely. So it obviously works, for Japan and their society. So like you say, it's important not that you don't judge another culture because it's their choice to run their society in that way, and they believe it works. So
yeah, exactly. But so this game has been pulled from sale in Japan. Let's get a little bit back on topic. It was due for a Western release in the middle of this year, but that has now been thrown into doubt. We do know that they have actually recorded the lines for this character with the English actor, whoever's doing the English localized voice lines for that has actually been done.
Yeah.
So they may well just try and release it unedited over here, because they'll probably get away with it, because the Western audience, by and large, probably won't care.
Yeah. Yeah, they won't.
Apart from some hardline anti-drugs people who probably don't play video games anyway.
They're probably not going to be rushing out to buy their copy of the latest Yakuza game, are they?
Exactly. So
they'll be saying things like, "See, games make you take drugs."
Yeah. There's a definite association. Look, I can prove it.
Yes. So it's
Listening to people like that make me want to take drugs, honestly.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, I think what they'll probably do is they're going to re-record the voice lines, maybe change the model, and because the 3D model in the game is supposed to represent this actor's likeness, so they're probably going to redo the model or just tweak it so it doesn't quite look like him anymore. Redo
Has it
the
currently
lines
got
with
a kind of
someone else.
dusting round his nose? In the game.
His philtrum's about to fall out, but
Constantly having nosebleeds, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they're probably going to tweak the model. They're going to change his lines and then re-release it in Japan, and then after that finish off the localization. But they've not confirmed anything, and Sega's Japanese account has been deleting tweets relating to the promotion of the game. That's how seriously they're taking this.
Bloody hell.
People
at Sega aren't happy.
No, I'm just wondering though, because with Grand Theft Auto, they've been known to put the odd drug reference in their games. Do you think? I mean, look at GTA 5 and Trevor's raging meth adventures. I mean, do they end up censoring them in Japan, or do they let that sort of thing go? I wonder.
I think they let it. I think it's more when it happens in real life that they have an issue.
Yeah, obviously, but it's still I wouldn't say it's glamorizing it because it's not. Rockstar is satirising, if anything else.
I was going to say, if anyone who thinks Rockstar are glamorising anything has not got the point of a Rockstar game.
No, it's going back to those conservative anti-video game types. They probably think it is, but yeah.
More than likely, but nah. Yeah, so this game may or may not be released in the West. It would be a shame if it wasn't, because I think particularly for fans of the Yakuza series, it probably looks like something that's right up their alley. So it would definitely be a shame if it wasn't released. But at the moment, Sega have not made a decision. We will find out though, and if we do find out, one of us will be sure to let you know on this channel. And I think on that note, that seems like a good time to wrap up the show.
Okay.
That brings us to the end of this episode of the GameCast NewsCast, and I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, subscribe, share, whatever you fancy to this channel, and join our Discord and whatever. Yeah, we make loads of content. It's great. Thank you, though, to my guests, Joe Chip and Grant, for joining us today.
No worries.
Thank you.
And I will try and remember to leave links to Joe's channel and Grant's Twitter in the description. I'm very bad at doing that, but I will try and remember.
Yeah.
Go find Joe. He's easy enough to find. Just search Joe Chip. Grant will be... What's your Twitter handle?
It's Over the Edge YT, but yeah, it should stay that way for the foreseeable future.
Yes. So that's that. Yes, that's a thing that exists. But yes, thank you both very much for joining me. And yes, we'll have another episode probably next week. Thanks very much for watching. Bye. This was a mess of an ending.